Hello from Jordan. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty excited to be leaving language assessment and heading into curriculum and materials design. I don't actually know a whole lot about curriculum or about syllabus, creating a syllabus. I've never had to do either outside of maybe my TEFL certification. So when I came here to Jordan to start my practicum, my supervisor actually gave me a curriculum for one of the classes. And also I took over one that didn't have a curriculum or a syllabus, and I started like in week 3. And then we have a 2-week break now. We're entering into another 2-week class. I'm actually teaching 2 of them, and both of them already have the curriculum created. And so I have a few comments on maybe the things that I liked about having this curriculum, or maybe a few things that weren't so didn't really work out that well for me. But when it comes to actually having done it myself, this will be the first time, which I'm honestly really excited about, because my supervisor had asked me, do you want to help me create a curriculum for these upcoming classes? And honestly, it was kind of scary because I didn't know how would you start that. Anyways, when it comes to this curriculum that she has given me, or gave me, for the course I just finished teaching, it was based off of a film, The King's Speech, and it's about the king who had, I think King George VI maybe, who had the stuttering problem, and how he overcame that problem. And so I taught advanced level. It was level 5, based off of the CEFR. Anyways, so I followed this film, but there was also other things that were in the curriculum as well. But my class was not a consistent same group of people every week. They just didn't show up. There's not a whole lot of accountability here on that. And so the curriculum was really hard to follow when every week or every class there was a different group of students. And so sometimes I found myself having to repeat things, or maybe the lesson plan that I had prepared based off of the curriculum for that week wouldn't work at all for the students that showed up. So that kind of became a problem. But I don't know if that necessarily has to do too much with curriculum or the fact that they just didn't come. But something that I'm seeing as I head into the next curriculum that she created is that she prepared more than enough for us to kind of find out what might work in case some students do show up or don't, or in case some are a lot higher level than what we expect. And so what I've seen is that, or what I'm excited about, is that the amount of curriculum that's prepared, there's enough options to kind of know where to go in situations like that with lesson planning. Otherwise, I'm not quite sure I would know what to do with a lesson, just because I don't have a lot of experience in creating them, or a lot of experience in creating the curriculums, I mean. So I do have a fear in that with creating the curriculums. You want to make sure there's enough options, but there's so many different ways you can go, especially the class that's coming up. I'm teaching conflict resolution and business English. And so with the business English, there's really a lot of routes you can go. And so or even conflict resolution, but when I start that, if I were to start curriculum preparing that, then I have to think about all the different routes you can take and how to prepare for those different routes. Not yet making the lesson plans for them, but to keep in mind, how would I make a lesson plan based on the curriculum that I have prepared? And so I think it would take a whole lot of time to think about all the different ways that you can take business English. And so having a backup curriculum, I don't know, as you're making the curriculum, the one that she has prepared, I've noticed she'll have in white what she wants to follow, but she'll have in gray what are optional things to kind of do if something doesn't work out. And so just being over prepared, which I personally really enjoy being over prepared, it's really worked out for me, and so I'll probably use that as I go into creating my own. But I also think that something that she maybe left out was maybe creating these curriculum with really high expectations. As I was going through the curriculum, or have been looking at what's ahead, it's kind of based off of the lower end of the students and not holding people to a really high expectation. And so as I do the curriculum, creating it, that I want to make sure that I putting them at the standard that they could maybe meet. As she observed me about, 2 weeks ago in my class, when I was actually teaching the class that didn't have a curriculum at all. And so she said that she was really impressed with the way that I really held the students to a high expectation. She could tell that they were really striving to meet that expectation. And so I don't know if that's just because here we just have it's a language center and students don't pay, it's just volunteer. And so I'm not quite sure if maybe because of that it falls short on the expectation side. And so I do think that is just as important. And then also the problem with not having a curriculum, honestly, because I hadn't ever taught my own course like consistently, I've never really had to think about, do I need one of these coming in? And not having a whole lot of time, I didn't even know which class I would be teaching when I arrived. And I actually picked up as somebody else walked, left the class, I started teaching it for them. And they didn't have a curriculum prepared. They were just kind of going based off of needs analysis and based off of the what you should expect somebody in their level. It's level 3, so the intermediates. But what do you expect them to know how to do? And so as I entered into that, I was like, well, I don't quite know what you've done with them or where I should be taking them. Even though I know like what we expect them to do, I think not having a curriculum prepared really hindered me in that way, because I was then just kind of every week trying to find something that went off of the last week and could lead me into the next week, but I didn't quite know where I was going. And so it put a lot of stress on me during the weeks of making sure that whatever I was planning, I could work off of the next week, even though I didn't know what it would look like. And so I could really see why it's beneficial to have a curriculum in the first place. When it comes to creating a syllabus, I honestly don't have many expectations. I've seen a lot of them, in school and university, and so I think that one I might have kind of low expectations for, maybe, and as I start to work that out, maybe I'll realize there's a whole lot more that goes into it than what I thought. But again, the syllabus was created for me when I got here, so I've not really had to do that either. But yeah, the 3 things that I would say I've taken away from just my experience here and heading into creating curriculum that I'm actually really excited to do, because I really like to plan. But again, are just the having a curriculum with enough options, even though it'll take a lot of preparation, and then creating a curriculum with high expectations, and just seeing the importance in having a curriculum and what that could do for the students. For me, it definitely is helpful to have a curriculum, but just so the students feel as though there is an end goal that can be reached. Without the curriculum, it's kind of confusing on what the goal is. So I would say those are 3 things that I've taken away from this experience. Outside of Jordan, I'm not quite sure what it would look like. And after, in 2 weeks, I'll be I have a 2-week course, so 2-week break and then 2-week course, and then I'll be finished with my practicum hours, and I'm hoping during that time that I can really just take advantage of the time that I have here and learn a lot from my supervisor on how she creates her curriculum. So it'll be interesting to see what we're learning in class and how I can compare it to how she creates her curriculum. But she definitely uses a lot of internet resources when she's looking for the materials that you might be able to use, which is also beneficial to know, like, there's materials out there, even though here's this curriculum, what do you do with it? I really like that she includes the materials that you could expect to find when you're focusing on this item and that item, or this construct and that construct. So anyways, I feel like I'm at this point just blabbering on. So thanks guys for listening, and I can't wait to see how your practicum goes and just how creating curriculum is for you. So hope you guys have a good day. Thanks.